Hello, Guardians everywhere. Before your regularly scheduled programming, there is a special breaking announcement from Crucible Gumi. In a sign and trade deal from Lord Shaxx for 345,000 Glimmer, 5 Ascendant Shards, and 1 God Roll of his choosing, Crucible Gumi has acquired Destiny 2 YouTube rookie Lionheart to form a new YouTube power couple. The Crucible Brothers. Here to make a brief statement is Crucible Gumi.
As you have just heard, we are merging our channel with our longtime friend Lionhearts. We think it would benefit the both of us to work together on this channel, as we have already worked on so many projects together. We look forward to showing off our efforts with more new and exciting content.
Was that good enough, Lion?
Yeah, dude. No, you killed it. That's all I need. And with that intro out of the way, I guess I can go ahead and turn this off. And hey, how's it going? My name is Lionhearts. I'm glad to be here on the channel. Thank you to Gumi for giving me that epic introduction, and hopefully you guys will stick around for more new and exciting content coming soon to the channel. And with all of that buffoonery out of the way, let's get to the main topic of today's video. We're going to be talking about Destiny 2's most important stat that you can't even see in game and why it needs to change. Obviously, if you read the title, you know what we're talking about. We're talking about zoom. Very briefly, for those who don't know, zoom is obviously the magnification that your weapon receives when you aim down sights. It can be very low, like on most shotguns, all the way to studying the individual cells on that hunter's face, depending on what sniper rifle you might be using. And in pretty much every video game except for Destiny, that's really all that zoom would do. It doesn't actually change the stats, it just changes what you're seeing when you aim down sights. Destiny is not the same in that regard. Zoom is very impactful, damn near the most impactful stat in the game, because it artificially extends the damage fall off of a weapon. You can have two, let's just say, Hawk Moons with the exact same stats, but if one of those Hawk Moons has rangefinder and the other doesn't, the rangefinder Hawk Moon will have more range because of that zoom increase that rangefinder provides. This makes the zoom stat, and especially zoom altering perks, sometimes the most important aspects of weapons. If you take weapon archetypes like hand cannons, shotguns, SMGs, fusion rifles, we're talking about extreme alterations in a weapon's viability based on its zoom. Slight aside and fun fact for you newer players out there, this is actually why ricochet rounds used to be the best magazine perk in the game, because for a long time it had a hidden buff to zoom. It used to give, I think, +5 zoom, which is wild. That was so much zoom. It made hand cannons so much better. But that's just an aside. So what this has led to over time is that zoom has effectively created a different kind of power creep within the game. Depending on the weapon archetype, zoom is literally the most important stat, and weapons, even with superior base stats, if they don't have enough zoom, simply cannot compete with their counterparts. The biggest offenders in this regard are by far SMGs and fusion rifles, and to a lesser extent pulse rifles and auto rifles. SMGs especially stand out in this regard, and what really got me thinking about this and wanting to make a video about it is in Witch Queen, we got a brand new 600 RPM SMG in the kinetic slot. It's a stasis weapon, it's Forensic Nightmare. Now the 600 RPM SMG class is my favorite class of SMG in the game. Obviously it's the classic, it's the anti-OD archetype, Shayura's Wrath. Some of the all-time best PvP weapons have been 600 RPM submachine guns in Destiny 2. Now what separates Forensic Nightmare from Shayura's and Anti-OD is that Forensic Nightmare is horrifically bad.
But Lion, it's got enhanced perks. It's craftable. It has the same good perks as Shayura's. I mean, come on. The range and stability are really close. How could it be bad?
I mean, you're technically not wrong, but here's the thing. You're on D2 Gunsmith. It shows what the effective range of that roll, of any roll, could be. Could you just show me that for Forensic Nightmare real quick, max range?
Well, I'll go check it out if you insist. Oh. Oh.
You think this is funny?
In a cosmic sort of way, yes.
Well, Mr. Funny Man, is this how you get your sick kicks?
What? It's just an ordinary...
SMG.
Oh my goodness!
Jokes aside, when you look at the Forensic Nightmare, what you have here is something that should be a viable kinetic option for submachine guns, but because Bungie are cruel gods truly, they gave it the zoom of shotguns, and now, despite whatever perks you put on this, you could put rangefinder, iron reach, you could give it shot package, I don't give a you could give this thing any range boosting perks in the game. Because its base zoom is so low, it's a non-starter and cannot compete with other SMGs in the slot because of this one hidden stat. I mean, you got a Shayura's Wrath with 0 perks has more range than a max range Forensic Nightmare. What the And I promise that we are not just nitpicking one bad SMG out of the lot here. In no short order, all of these SMGs are strictly worse than using multimach or shayuras, extraordinary rendition, escape velocity, friction fire, every waking moment, death adder, eye close SMG, and cold front. That is a bunch of perfectly viable SMGs with unique roles, interesting stats, cool models, everything you would want in the variety that Destiny 2 provides that cannot compete at all with the 2 best installed SMGs because of range. Multimach has sometimes close to 10 meters more of range on these SMGs. Shayura's is the same. And it's all because these weapons have access to either zoom boosting perks, sights, or just higher base zoom. The newly added funnel web is an even better example because it is the exact same goddamn model as the Death Adder, but because it has 2 more base zoom and these same kind of rolls, it is immediately way better in every way. So, what do we do now? That is the question we are faced with. Bungie have identified going into Witch Queen that they want to look at zoom and how it affects weapons in a upcoming patch. We don't know when that is. We don't know if that's next season, 5 seasons away. Maybe it'll come with Destiny 3. You never know with Bungie, so take everything they say with a grain of salt. So, what could a prospective zoom change look like, and what would we like to see changed? It's a tough one to answer because you have to look at this from both sides. By just nerfing the impact of zoom, you make already good weapons worse, but not necessarily make the weapons that are underperforming better. Because it's not like by reducing the effectiveness of zoom, you give range to those lower zoom weapons. You could hurt them in that regard. There needs to be a give and take where weapons with lower zoom are compensated with some range, and those with higher zoom lose some, but not a drastic amount. We have to somehow meet in the middle where we can give these very bad ranged weapons a little bit of help, and also take down the super high end just a little bit. Especially in my opinion, multimach has too much range. It is incredibly powerful, it has one of the fastest base time to kills in the game, and it also has enough range to duel in this close middle range environment where you see a lot of hand cannons, autos, pulses, people trying to get in close and push with fusions. Multimach is lethal. There's a reason it's one of the best primaries in the entire game. It's because its range band is damn near perfect. Shayura's I'm a little less worried about. I kind of feel like 600 RPM SMGs should be pretty much mini auto rifles. They should have nearly 30 meters of range in my opinion. That's what makes them feel good, is they're SMGs, they're mobile, they're lightweight, they feel good in the air. So they end up being kind of a best of both worlds archetype. That's what made Antiope such a famous and beloved weapon in Destiny. So if I could magically wave a wand and fix zoom tomorrow, I would give low zoom weapons, those with 15 zoom and under, at least 2 or 3 meters of range each, if not a little bit more. That way they can actually compete with their higher zoom counterparts. To go along with this, if a weapon is an SMG, a fusion rifle, pulse rifle, or an auto rifle and has above 15 zoom, it should lose about the same, about 2 or 3 meters. And in regards to fusion rifles, I think this change should go even further. Fusion rifles are a discussion for a different day, video coming soon, my god. But zoom is definitely one of the biggest factors leading to stuff like main ingredient, timelines, vertex, likely suspects, Nori, and many other fusion rifles mapping at incredible ranges, So I think zoom should be even less effective on fusion rifles. Let's just really cut them at the knees. Please. For God's sake. And the last change that I would make, should I become the god of Bungie tomorrow and I was making these zoom adjustments, is that I would bring back scope options instead of barrels and sights on the majority of weapons. Some of the best weapons in Destiny 2 history have been those with scopes instead of sights or barrels. Frankly, they're just more interesting than sights or barrels instead of just being flat stat bonuses. Being able to actually change the look and feel of a gun by having access to a different kind of sight is very attractive. I mean, here's a great example. The new raid pulse rifle Insidious does not have scopes. It is a 4-burst pulse rifle and brings back the good old memories of the simpler times of the blast furnace, but what it lacks is a high zoom scope, something that blast furnace had access to, which made it such a valuable weapon in its heyday. So, if Insidious had scope options, there would be more variety, more choices for people to go after, and you could even try and push for more consistent stat monster rolls. Bungie on the whole seem to be kind of afraid to bring back scopes, as they've really limited how many new weapons have scope options over the years, but I think they should embrace it. It adds a lot of cool variety. You see it mostly on Suros weapons, which tend to be some of my favorites in the game, but I'd like to see it expanded to more weapon archetypes. Hell, I'd even like to see hand cannons finally get some kind of option for scopes. Imagine you could get like a 120 hand cannon with a massive, big, honking sniper scope on it, so that you could sit in a lane and just hit someone for 90 from 4 miles away. It'd be kind of neat. So why not? Let's embrace the chaos. Until then, I will covet all of these god rolls of terrible SMGs and pulse rifles in my vault, and pray that one day my waiting will be rewarded, and the options for viable weapons will continue to expand in this ever-diverse primary meta. And yes, I do realize when I say that the special weapon meta is anything but diverse, but again, a discussion for another day. Anyways, that is the zoom problem in Destiny 2. Let me know what you guys think about these hidden stats in the comments down below. Do you think these stats should be seen in-game, and do you think they should have such a big impact on weapon performance? It's not just zoom, it's also stuff like recoil direction and aim assist as well. Let me know what you're thinking in those comments down below. Make sure you like the video and subscribe as well for more content coming from the Crucible brothers in the future. Me and Gumi, we've teamed up for the better, and we're ready to start jamming out some more videos. So keep your eye here on the channel as well as our Discord, and maybe you can catch me streaming on my personal Twitch channel linked in the description down below as well. If you can show me some support there, that would be awesome. But regardless, your views are enough for the both of us. My name is Lionhearts, this has been the Crucible Brothers, and I will see you guys in the next video.